testing. I just thought I would show you a little bit of what I'm working on, and I've been investigating this whole 151 price craze, and it's really led me to completely adjust how I'm going about pricing in my site Collectrics. So mycollectrics.com, it's a tool that I'm working on. I started working on at the end of January, and we have a working platform now, basically for modern Pokemon cards. So one of the things I've been looking at was the price history for these 151 cards, and trying to understand like what's driving, just how all the different markets and the different tools are reacting to these trends for the 151 prices. And especially like for this card in particular, the Charmander has not seen any retracing at all. In fact, it's continued to grow. And I'm looking at like just what is really like where are the prices coming from? Like where are the sales coming from? And then how many of those sales are being taken into account that it's correctly weighting the volume against what that price should be. And what I'm finding is that really all of these different sources are almost all modeled off a TCG player. I mean, TCG player is driving a lot of this, and I'll explain. So TCG player, they are what I'm finding is that these market prices. So it's like look at right now, the market price is 156.47. If you go into if you go into collector, yesterday's price, if you can snag it, it was, I've seen this, oh, maybe not been for this card, but it's really close. I've seen this price pretty much line out to the penny to the TCG player price more often than not. And then another thing that I've recently started pulling in is, and understanding how this works, is a source called Just TCG. And Just TCG is one of the more available APIs that you can pull data from. And it primarily, and they even outright say they primarily use TCG Player as their kind of market record of truth. And if you want even more proof of this, look at just the two sources that I was talking about pulling in, Just TCG and PriceCharting. They don't have any other marketplace IDs, but they do have TCG Player IDs. Guess what PriceCharting has? They don't have anything else in their data, but guess what they do have? They do have a TCG ID for all their products. So the TCG Player ID is really kind of the backbone for a lot of these tools. So knowing that, you have to then really take a fine tooth comb or really look closely at how much this price, knowing that everyone is looking at this price, is this really the accurate way to assess what's going on? And is this amount of sales quantity enough to really be triggering us all across all of the market as to what these prices should be? I mean, let's look at it. So like you're looking at on average outside of like one high volume day, the highest volume day, you're looking at 20 items sold per day. So this is a 3-day span of 60 items sold on the TCG player market. That's the highest day. On average, you can see it's mostly way below that, especially when the prices started going up. You're looking at, this is 24 items between 3 days. So I mean, you're like less than, what is that, 7 items a day? Is that enough for us all to agree like, oh, this is the new dominant market price? And what I'm finding is it seems like this market is using so much of the last sale attribution to drive this. Now, it's not to say they do give you a median and a high sale price and a low sale price. Let me make sure we're looking at just the near mint. Okay. So there is some range. They're not just taking the highest price and going with it, but man, it jumps up very quickly in the way that, and knowing that this feed is driving so much of the market, it's led me to try and understand, okay, well, obviously my tool, which was using price charting data before, that's this one here. You can see I have history going back for price charting. You can ignore the weird formatting errors with my logo just kind of stuck there. I'm working on that. But that's where I was looking before. And really when these prices started to separate, what price charting has a lot more, like, I think they have a rolling window, or they only adjust these prices every other day or so. So there's a different type of strategy that they've employed. Their model is different. Whereas like you can see with this whole 151 surge, this just TCG, which again is primarily TCG player price, has just skyrocketed and totally separated from what I was using before. So this led me to go like, okay, I like the price charting data to an extent, knowing that they aren't as reactive. I think that's a good thing. And I think that TCG player, aka this just TCG price that you're seeing here, is probably a little too reactive. So what I wanted to do is just build this into the site. And I think that this will be one of the bigger kind of value adds to what the site can offer, is being more transparent across all of the different platforms, or at least where the platforms that are making data available. Now, I hope that this will eventually be just a more reliable source so that you can make your decision based on where you see the different marketplaces are headed. So I do think that just purely using one alone and having one marketplace with such a low volume of sales drive the entire pricing model across all these different platforms seems really wild. So I want to try and normalize that, and I've been working on that. To you can see now this Collectrics price, where it used to be pretty much just the pricing price charting price. Since I've included these new data going back 30 days for just TCG, I've weighted that along with them to be a little bit more aggressive for now towards that source, but using the other data sources that I have to normalize that a bit, and also to make certain guardrails around daily price changes and things like that. And no, and there also have to be a certain amount of sales volume that happen every day for it to influence those price changes. So that's what I'm working on. I think that this would be really valuable, and I'm also applying some similar rules to, limited data I have around PSA 10s, but that's my goal. So what I've also started doing is eBay um, eBay archival and modeling tool analysis. So this sales volume are data that I'm extracting from the eBay marketplace every day, where I'm filtering, where I'm excluding outliers, where I'm putting guardrails in place. And it's not perfect, but you can see like even eBay, and that's where I have this pulled up is eBay. Let me just go ship to Ender recently. Even eBay is like not following in line, where you see these like TCG player prices of like 130 going up here recently, like $160. You go onto eBay, you're not seeing that price. You've got tons of results of recently sold as of yesterday and today where we're nowhere close to $160. And I know this, this does not always look at, the condition. And I'm sure that there are prices, or sorry, these prices oftentimes can be because the condition is, pristine, gradable quality, but there's still going to be a lot of that on eBay too. But if you just go through, like these listings are nowhere close to 160, not a single one. So how is it that TCG Player is saying, well, this is a $160 card for near mint, but I can't find a single sold listing that's even coming close to that? Well, I'll tell you why, because that's not the real market price. I mean, at least outside of just TCG Player's data. So what's happening in the real world, and that there's a much higher volume marketplace, aka eBay, where I just think that it needs to all be kind of normalized. That's my long-winded point. So that's my goal. I'm hoping to continue to make this a little more precise, get this cleaned up, and have a Collectrics price, which would be your market normalized price, to kind of prevent all the psychotic kind of like I don't know, just to not to prevent really. What's my goal? My goal really is not about preventing anything. It's just about informing. So just being informative in what I think the right kind of happy medium between all these different signals, and taking a more intelligent look at curbing spikes and trends, and or not curbing trends, but to curb noisy signals from small data samples. That's all you want to do as a data analyst. Reduce noisy signals, make better decisions off of real reliable, um, statistically significant data. I think that's sounded smart enough. All right. That's all I have for today. Maybe you thought this was boring. I don't know, but that's what I'm building in, and I'm going to keep doing it, and I hope you like it. So mycollectrics.com, continue to check that out. On this is not live yet. This is a pre-release version. I've got some new things I've added here, like a sealed leaderboard, which you might find pretty cool. We already have this card leaderboard where we show like the highest gains and grading, highest gains and value after grading PSA 10. And also we have the PSA gem rates. So the PSA 10 gem rates are here. So the ones that you see are really have an extremely high value add. You can see a lot of the times they have a really low gem rate. Case in point, this Magikarp, it's like really well known that this has a low gem rate. But there are a lot of cards out there that are kind of hiding under the radar, which you may not realize have a pretty good gem rate, but a really high grading return. So that's what that's for. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff here. So check it out. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you in the next video.